Now, done.
Hi everyone, it's great to see you today again in a new session of Languages of Virus. Today we have a very special guest, uh, probably is one of the most well-known of all the group because Gregorio Fontén comes from Chile. He's a musician, poet, and visual artist, but he also studied in England. He, he got his PhD on Goldsmith in Sonic Arts, but he also spent some years in Barcelona. So he has been in touch with lots of us in this group. And for this time, we invited him not to show his general work, but we asked him to show a very special work that he presented like 2 or 3 months ago. And it's a very special work because he collaborated with lots of wonderful sound artists, musicians, poets, and visual artists from Chile. So I think it's one of the best and more complete and more complex works that Gregorio has done. And we thought with Martin that he deserved a special session to show this work specifically. This is a video that it's 40 minutes long. So the idea is to talk a little before or a lot, I don't know, then we show them because many of you maybe haven't seen it, and then we can comment a little more. So it's different in the sense that Gregorio won't make a performance live. Maybe we can make other notes or whatever we like, but we wanted to show this specific work. Some of you that haven't seen it before. So welcome, Gregorio. As always, it's very strange in English. A friend that is talking Spanish since the start, but we want to become international. So welcome.
Okay.
Welcome, Gregorio.
Thank you for the invitation. I can talk a little bit about the work. First, I can introduce some other people that are here right now that were part of the team. So we have Lucas there with all his percussion instruments behind him. He did some percussion things for this work. We have Ana Maria that did some vocals and piano. Samuel, that was kind of like a shamanistic presence in the work with vocal performing. Andrea, that was doing lights. And that's it. So I can tell you a little bit about the work. This was like a commission from a festival that my associate Walter, he managed, did all the connections. So we got this work for, he asked me to propose a work for this festival or something to do with site-specific work in Valparaiso. And since I was working with this idea of creating some sort of like relay of sounds, so sound traveling and then going to from one like station to the next, and then from that to another, and then back. So it would start spiraling as the sound would go circling around the different stations. So that's the basic, like the beginning of the work, which is then like a relay system between microphones and speakers. So you have one microphone that is capturing the sound of a space, and 20 meters, with a 20 meters long cable, you have a speaker that it's like broadcasting those sounds. And next to that speaker, you have another microphone that is capturing the sounds of the speaker, plus the resonance of that speaker in the position it is, and the other sounds that can be in that area. And that is brought to another speaker where again, there is another microphone recapturing all that sound, and then taking it back to another speaker, etc., until you do a complete circle. And so the sound starts to modulate with itself like a little bit, plus the new sounds that appear. So with this idea, we started talking about the spiral of transduction, because it's like a spiral, and transduction because it's the acoustic energy that it's becoming electric and then acoustic again, and it's a process of transduction. So Walter realized that we could do a particular spiral for the old buildings that used to have like the main market in Valparaiso, which is mainly an empty concrete building, a big building, and it has like a spiraling staircase. So we work with that building, and maybe if I can share a screen, I can show like the diagram.
Yeah, because it has a very special shape. It's like hexagonal, or no?
So I can explain this drawing. So what we have here, it's like the installation, the plan for the installation, and we can see, if I move my cursor, you can see that, right? Like what I'm doing now, like circling. So the idea with this installation is that there is this sound that is evolving and continuously flowing through this spiral, and the idea is to create like a balance and a tension maybe between like the sounds we bring into the space on one side, and on the other side that the acoustics of the space, they acquire a certain predominance. So until you get like a disorientation or an ambiguity between the sources. So you are not sure anymore if the sounds you are hearing, are they part of like the performance, or are they an effect of the transduction, or are they an effect of the resonance of the building? So the starting point was this electric guitar that is represented here, which was tuned to a PVC pipe, like a plastic pipe, that if you put your ear to any pipe, you can hear like it has a particular tone. So the guitar was tuned to a tube that was placed in front. If you follow this arrow, this is like approximately 40 meters, this arrow. So here where it says the bill, that was the amplifier. So this arrow here throws the guitar is connected via a cable to the amplifier. And then the amplifier throws the sound through the air to this microphone that is inside the tube that has the same tuning than the electric guitar. From that microphone, through an electric cable, we get to this computer here, which is recording the output of the microphone. And in the computer, I had a few controls. Basically, I could control the EQ of the sound that was coming in, and the EQ of the sound that is coming out of the computer, that is going to this speaker over here, that sends the sound through the air back into the guitar. And the guitar has a hollow body, so it's semi-acoustic guitar, and the pressure from the air with the sound makes the guitar resonate. So at the beginning of the work, I struck the strings, and then the sound flows through the system and back, and it starts building up on top of itself. And here in the computer, I can be like bringing certain frequencies out, or erasing certain frequencies. So that was like the basic idea behind the work. That's like the basic mechanism. And then throughout the whole floor of the building, we had other positions. So if you see here with the blue lines, we had placed another set of microphones in different areas that would go to this mixer that was operated by Fernando, and Fernando could open up some of those signals and send them back to the building in different areas, which is represented here only with this black arrow to this speaker here. So he can pick, for example, the microphone here and send that here, so that this microphone will pick it up and send it into the computer, and it will start like going in circles in that system. But then we also had speakers in other areas, like in other floors of the building. And we had two fixed positions. One was the percussion position where Lucas would perform over here. And over here, Ana Maria with her voice and an electric piano, which would also go into a speaker, which would also go into a microphone, and would also start doing all these effects. And then the other sound performer, that was Samuel, had a speaker on wheels. So he could move around the space and talk or chant to this speaker as he moved around the space. Also for the ending of the work, in that speaker, we placed a recording of the sound result. So the ending of the piece was that we like turned off the system and turned it on in Samuel's speaker. So he left the building, taking with him the sound of the spiral. And that was all the sound intervention. And then Andrea and her brother Octavio, they did a light design that worked in sync with the script of the work. So we had like a script that was that guided when was the voice and the piano working, and when were the percussions. And there were two activations of the system with the electric guitar. So one at the beginning, in the middle, there is like in the center of the work, like the shaman, which is Samuel Ibarra, is kind of like awakes and makes like a solo. And then there is the second activation. And for that second activation, there is also some recorded voices of a lot of different people that among them Felipe Casen. That
was the best part.
Also,
that was the best part.
Felipe's voice was with a vocoder, but we also had Luna, we had Adrian, Martin Gavins, Gerard. It was like 15 performers that they were following sort of like a score or instructions. And that was placed in different speakers as well in the space. So I think that summarizes more or less the whole piece.
It was like we are the world for sound poets, all of us. But you didn't give the money to any foundation. Well, it's great to see the this scheme that you show us, because I think it will help, especially the ones that haven't been in that place, to have a more clear image of what's going on, and because it's very complex in the different cameras and all that. I don't know if some of you want to make any question before we take a look at the video of the performance, or later.
Just wondering if there was people like audience, a live audience.
Well, originally that was the idea, but then because of the pandemic situation, it changed into like this video production. But originally the idea was that it was going to be open and people would be able to come in and go out and move around the building, because actually the piece, you can't really like feel the real experience through the recording, because as you move through the space, you would get different reactions from the reflections on the overall like sound field that was created. So it's like like a lot of frequency modulations happening simultaneously, and also your presence reacts with the frequencies. So maybe you hear like a certain frequency very loud, but if you move closer to it, you absorb it and then it disappears. Or on the contrary, like you move towards the electric guitar, for example, and that creates an extra reflection. So a different sound comes out of the guitar. So it's interactive in that way, like, or each person is very much at the center, like in the sense that you are like creating your own experience of it in a way.
Well, so let's watch it and listen to it. I will share the screen.
Felipe, si le pones los subtítulos, tiene subtítulos en inglés.
Perfecto.
Gregorio, and about the technical stuff, what do you use, like a MaxMP programmation? What it was the...
Yeah, the software was done in MaxMSP, doing the loops and like the routing of the audio, but that would only control like one area of the installation. So if you remember in the drawing, there were these arrows like that showed like the different streams of audio. Only like the red arrows were controlled by the computer or part of the computer system, but there were these other systems that were independent. So not everything was connected electrically. Some things were just connected acoustically.
Right. And that is all the same idea, to work with feedback in different feedback of each of microphone and speakers in a way.
There is the element of feedback, but it's not the only element, because there is also like the resonance of the building. So it's also, the idea was a little bit to create that ambiguity, like what am I listening to? Is this the feedback of a speaker, or is this the frequencies of the guitar? Like, is the tuning of the guitar, or is it the main frequencies of the building that are being like emphasized? Like there is like this disorientation a little bit between the elements.
And you're right to make vibrations of the building with the frequencies, like a kind of...
Sorry?
Did you arrive to make vibrate the building with vibrations in a way, like with different frequencies?
I don't know if in the video you will be able to listen to that, but on like halfway through, when Samuel is like speaking, there is a bass, because we had the control of a sub bass that was inside like a steel staircase, and that was when we placed the vibrations that was following the main frequency of the system, and we placed that on the staircase, and it started vibrating like the whole thing, the whole structure that was like 4 floors up.
That it happens when you make like two vibration of two frequencies not so far, and an harmonic in the bass like this. You can also like destroy a building or like construct like kind of new building, and like resonance, magic resonance.
But then there is the difference between what is the structural frequency of a building, which you don't have much access to. And then the other thing is the main frequencies of the resonance inside the building. So what we are working with is mostly the resonance inside the building, which is like the chord the different walls make when sound is bouncing on and off all the walls and columns and stuff that is inside the building, including the human beings that are there.
Of course, and also a lot of annulation of faces in a way, you know. I think a lot of sound that you can not listen, but kind of resounding of the walls.
But you can feel it on the body as well. The resonance. You can also feel it on the body as well.
Yeah, of course.
You are in the space. You know, it's an experience in itself. It's difficult to explain it because you have to really experience it. Certainly because of the building. The building is like a big, huge cone, concrete. So it's concrete and iron. So the resonance of the space is quite high. It's beautiful, really beautiful.
Can you tell us a bit about the building itself? Aside, I mean, were you drawn to it more for its architectural properties, or are there aspects of its use and its history that were relevant to the composition?
Well, there was actually like the producer, Walter, he decided that, I mean, I was working with this idea of this spiraling thing that would create this, and he thought that this building, the Mercado Puerto, was very suitable for it because it has a spiral staircase. And that's like and then also like to frame it inside the festival, like the curation of the work dealt a little bit with, like, we were bringing back to life like the echoes of the old life the building used to have. So there is that element that made it a bit more like accessible, maybe.
But so, was it like a residential building, or did it have a kind of civic function?
No, it's a market. So mainly.
Oh, sorry. Yes, of course.
Food market, and it closed at the beginning of this century after an earthquake. It was very damaged, so they closed it down, and now in theory, it's renovated, but it's so badly done that it cannot reopen.
Really? Oh dear.
So there are a little amount of shops like on the ground floor, but then the rest of the building is empty and it cannot be used because there are no bathrooms, there is no electric connections, and the concrete is not, I don't know how you call it, but it's not fixed to the walls. So there is like this concrete dust that falls down that can be very damaging for your health if you stay there for long.
Wow, it's a shame.
And that's like a proper introduction to Valparaiso politics.
Yeah, it's like Scott, I put on the chat a link with some photos of the building, which is really beautiful.
Oh,
but
great!
Yeah,
yes.
Probably they will put some hipster cafes and something like that. You can check the stairs and.
We have a history in that market because if that place in Valparaiso is where Valparaiso never was founded, but this is a place where it started as being as a port, as a little port, and it's in
it used to be the most delicious food market. Amazing.
Yeah, food and all that, and in front of that you have the La Matriz,
La Matriz.
Yeah, which is like
it's
the
very historical neighborhood.
And the bar, how is it called? The bar just across the road, the one with the parrot. Yeah, liberty, liberty.
Liberty.
Liberty with a parrot that tells you to fuck off is brilliant.
Yeah, so it's the oldest area of the city,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's very much nowadays like kind of like an anarchic area.
Yeah.
A happy area also, no?
Sorry?
It's the happy quarter. I mean,
Yeah, well, it used to be.
it used to be, yeah.
The pirate square.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll share the screen so we can take a look at it.
Somos el eco que viaja en el tiempo. Somos el presente de un sonido pasado. Afectamos el futuro como la resonancia del entorno. No compartimos ideas o significados, compartimos la vibración, las frecuencias, el ambiente resonante que genera tanto ideas como acciones. Compartimos la empatía, que es la afinación de nuestros ecos. Valparaíso es oceánico, pero su horizonte son las montañas. Como una migración de materialidades, descoloca tanto a la roca como al mar. Valparaíso, en el edificio donde estuvo el mercado del barrio Puerto, ahora hay un silencio que escucha tu presente. Aquí construiremos un campo de vibraciones para aparecer y desaparecer, transformados en la migración de energías. Nuestros sonidos resonarán en el concreto del edificio y serán conducidos por micrófonos, cables y parlantes por los ecos del lugar para volver a resonar y volver a viajar. Aquí haremos una escultura de frecuencias, un campo vibracional de ecos presentes que siempre son futuro y pasado.
pasado. exactitud de las palabras, el viento como una plataforma del destino abierto, insinuante, épico. Abierto. Una en escala, la estalactita abierta, recorrido como el viento, trabaja insufrible toda la escritura, abierta, nauseabunda de olvido, palabra tras palabra, el eco migrante se levanta, razona piedra por piedra, palabra, tiempo, grito, escritura, todo el olvido, toda la luz, al fin, con la llegada de la luz, corre, corre, tiempo.
Avanza, avanza, tejidos, tejidos, entre frecuencias. Tu cuerpo.
Cada voz,
Gela hacia el pasado,
Esta sílaba
eco anterior, manifiesta
somos
entremedio.
siempre.
ilusión, no es
Resonancia del futuro, tu cuerpo. Resonancia del futuro. Siempre somos
tu cuerpo, nuestra conversación, somos tejidos, esta sílaba somos,
siempre somos
pronunciado hacia el pasado, un eco anterior llegará desde otro tiempo.
Nos transforma, Ambrosa.
Ien o A.
Wow, wow, wow.
Congratulations to all of you, and sorry for the problem with the audio. I didn't find the option for direct sound, but as I told you, when we upload the video, we'll put the original file so you can hear it correctly, or you can check the link I put from YouTube. And especially as it says in the beginning, if you have the chance to hear with the earphones, it's more complete experience also. Well, if anyone wants to make questions, comments, and also there are a lot of the people involved in the lights, in the music, the performance, that you can talk to them also. Discussions, all that.
Can't hear you, Zoe.
Zoe. No, no, Zoe, we don't hear you. Maybe it's the audio preference. You can write.
You can make signs.
Yeah, signs.
Sign language.
No.
But you can write in the chat and I read the question.
Ana Maria, did you play piano? Ana María Briere.
Aquí estoy. ¿Qué pasó?
¿Estabas tocando piano? ¿Tú?
Sí. Pero sí. Ahora no.
¿Pero en qué tocaba? ¿Cuál eran tu nota?
Gregorio tenía una partitura que me entregó y de ahí yo improvisaba.
Ya.
Buena.
I can show it if you want. The score.
Yes. Show it, please, Gregorio.
I did this score especially for Ana Maria because I really like the way she uses the piano as some sort of like trampoline for her voice. So I knew her style where she's just very subtle playing of the piano and mainly just accentuating tiny sounds in the piano that accentuate the way she's performing with her voice. So I gave her a couple of instructions on how to use the piano and the voice, which is basically my way of understanding how she works, with this list of words to be combined from one column to the next, which is the same combination of words I gave to every performer. And then, it's not here. I had some piano notation for her, but it's not in this computer anymore.
And for the other parts, for the percussions, the lights, the electric echoes and all that, how was the collaboration? Did you give some specific instruction or you were combining the different options with the artist?
Yeah, I mean, most of it was we had conversations on how we would proceed, but then also I gave them this sort of stuff, like this. So this is like the timeline for Ana Maria. It is just like a little like drawing showing more or less activity in a timeline. So when should she start? When should she finish? Or if there are like some periods of rest and sort of something just to feed the imagination of the performers. But this wasn't a work like a music composition where you would compose a work for people you don't necessarily know. Like this was specifically for Ana Maria, for Samuel, for all the people that were involved.
Felicitaciones, estuvo
felicitaciones.
hermoso. We already had listened to it, we had already seen it, which I recommend totally because actually it was great here, but the sound when you see yourself is more powerful, so that's great. Qué rico verte, Samuel, excelente performance. Sí, y la Ana María y Andrea, the light was amazing. That was really, I wish I was there, really. Y Lukács. Oh, yeah.
Next
No, that
time
was amazing. Next time in Valpo, let's do it.
I just wanted to ask Andrea about the light. Was it done sound to light, or did you set it up beforehand, or how do you work the light with the sound?
Hi everyone. With Delight Lab, we made the light, all the light, and in the center of this building there is a hole. If you see the building, you can see it's like a donut. It's like a donut, like in this way, like a ring. So we put special lights, one video projector and one laser projector is a laser light. And also we have another laser that we use to move with this and make another interventions projecting this circle of points to the different artists and performer. And the light that you see in the middle, this moves and you can see because we materialize the light with fog. This fog is a special fog that you put in the air, and you can see this like some moving sculpture of light, and the movement is evocate this Gregorio's partiture about this way to see the, ¿cómo se dice, Gregorio? Como una espiral, it's like spiral. We inspired with this characteristic, and in a part we put a little audio reactive movement. We capture the sound, and in another part we made a special animation of a organic movement of a circle. And what else? We also did the lights of I'm trying to remember the name of these lights. Are like a LED light, very tiny, and we put next to every performer because this building was without light and was really, it's a building very dark and very like an abandoned. It's new, but the look is very like abandoned building. So we put these few lights, and the light of everyone of the guitar and everything was very tiny, but was very, we think about this aesthetic, very subtle lights, and that was our participation. Yes.
By the way, well, people in Chile know very much the work of Andrea and her brother Octavio as the Light Lab. But I guess people from Europe have also looked the work that they have done projecting text and images in lots of public spaces in Chile, and especially during the social revolt. So which link can I share, like the Instagram or?
Instagram. Yes.
Yeah, okay, I will put the link. So I think probably most of you have seen those images, but it's great to know that Andrea is part of that wonderful project also. And I have here the question of Zoe. She says, anyway, I really I love it. Remind me a bit of Einstürzende Neubauten. I never know how to pronounce it, but you get it. Remind me a bit of Einstürzende Neubauten, who did something like this in Berlin. I thought there were two ways of listening, one very immersive with the drones and depths of sound, and one that was more a curiosity about the source of the sound. I wonder if it felt like that in situ. What can you tell us about the different kinds of perceiving all this?
Maybe, I don't know if someone else wants to, some of the other performers would like to say something about that.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say something about that, specifically about the sound.
Yeah.
And I think first, as a musician, it was a privilege to be in that work with but also a privilege to be on that building, playing that building, because the sound of the building, the resonance of that building is fantastic. And what Gregorio did there, it was amazing. Unfortunately, you have to be there to feel that the sound, how to inspire. For me, it was to be in CERN, that super collider center that trouble the sound, or trouble the atoms around us in circles. And that was the feeling I had, like being there. Sound like. It was amazing, really worked like very well.
And Lucas, well, it's great to see in the film your sounds and percussion set, because if one looks at your screen, it seems like you are in a gym, like the. But if you look at when you're playing, you get the idea. But I was wondering, I guess I should have asked this lots of years ago, but well, anyway, what can you tell us about your set? Because maybe it has been evolving along the years, using toys or different sound sources. How can you tell us about your so personal instrument?
Yeah, I mean, specifically that is starting with a project I have. It's called Lúcuma Estación Receptora de Ondas Sónicas Cósmicas. It's a group I work with two friends of mine that none of them are musicians. And we started working this project just with making up instruments. And I work lately on most of these because this structure is because I have attached this, I have springs, metal spring attached to resonators, was milk powder cans. So as I work with sound more than music itself, be in that space and working with the building itself and working with the resonance of all the sound coming up and going round and round in circles, and you really feel distorted. You don't know where you are sometimes. It was really amazing experience.
And you don't use any amplification, right? It's just
no, it's all
mics and
yes, acoustic.
Great, thank you.
I had a question. Oh, sorry.
No, go, Scott.
I mean, maybe it's for Samuel, but perhaps it would have resonance for all the performers. I was just curious, Gregorio, when you used the word shamanic earlier to talk about Samuel's role in the piece, and I was just wondering what that meant for this piece.
Well, I think Samuel has left.
Oh.
Very shortly of him.
Ah, too late.
And yeah, well, as I mentioned a little bit before, like every part of the work was especially like I thought, okay, so if I work with Samuel, what could his piece be, or Lucas, or Ana Maria? So all the different performers, like they are like the work is specific for them. And Samuel, he's like a performance artist. He does some poetry. He published a book recently with his poetry, which is all mainly written in his own language. And he works with like this like shamanic like sensitivity, I would say, because he's not trying to emulate like being a real like shaman, but he follows a little bit of the tradition, or like he tries to be in touch with that, but through the use of garbage, through the use of recycling, like every bit of discarded electronics and stuff he finds on the street. So he's, in a way, the idea is that he's like a shamanic presence in the sense that he's a little bit like incarnating the spiral at times. And that's why he has this speaker that moves with wheels, and he takes it out of the building in the end. So it helps a little bit maybe create a narrative, especially since the work became this kind of film. Because originally, when it was thought to be like a piece that people could walk in, it didn't have like a clear beginning and a clear ending. It was more of like a spatial experience that you just went in and left whenever you felt like. But since it became like this movie, we created this narrative that the shamanic figure helps to build. And then I think there is something funny that then seeing the result kind of appears. It's like, for example, Lucas, he's like there with all his little stuff. It's like he's like a seller in the market. And then Samuel is going around with this little trolley, like he's like an old lady buying stuff. So yeah, it's like the spirits of the market in a way.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was wondering, if you were channeling some aspect of the previous history and the occupants and the activities there, and then that spinning dance.
Me personally, I wasn't looking for that, but I think you can like find that when you see the piece.
Thank you.
It was like a kind of haunting.
Oh, you're back.
But yeah, I was thinking about that when you were describing just setting up all of a microphone here and this there. I was just thinking, I can't even manage the microphone on my own computer. So it's just, I was thinking like how, yeah, just an incredible kind of technical challenge there. But yeah, but I was thinking about, yeah, those ideas about ghosts as sort of frequency and sound and different ways of inhabiting the place, and yeah, it really came over in the film. I didn't think it would, but it did. Yeah, I got the sense of it.
Luckily, we had a good team of people working for all the different aspects.
A dream team. So,
Totally.
Yeah.
And Gregorio, I know you've been working with filters. So was the idea like this tube, was that how you saw it, as a filter that vibrates within the spatial dimensions? Or how does the filter concept work within this spatial reflection somehow?
So basically, how I understand like the sound aspect of the piece is that there are like in attention between, like, it's a sound system, like a whole sound system of amplification that in itself is also like a musical instrument. So it's this sound system which has a tension between, on one side, like trying to emphasize like the material acoustic properties of the building, or on the other hand, like a completely arbitrary like sound source, which is mainly the tuning that we are bringing to the building, which is in the piano, which is in the electric guitar, and the tube. It's a filter, like it's like if this would be like a tonal musical piece, it's the main tone. So it's basically the main tone of the piece. It's somewhere between an E and an F, and then the whole, like the guitar is tuned to that. So it's like partials of that tone. And then the score I gave Ana Maria for the piano part, it's also built around those notes. So that is completely like arbitrary decision, which is basically based because I had the tube. Like I had a tube that was, that if you put your ear, that's the sound it gave you. And there is a tension between that, like very arbitrary or like subjective kind of sound, and then the acoustic properties of the space and how they both like interact.
And how did you feel about the recording of it, like from the placement of microphones and the binaural aspect of it? How was that for you?
It was really difficult to do, because when, like, for example, we had some microphones on one area then of the building and some in other, and then the sound that was going through the computer, that was being recorded as well. But then it turned out it was completely useless, because if you hear to the sound inside the computer, it has nothing to do with what you can hear, what you could hear in the space. But then it was basically impossible to synchronize the different microphones, because you really are hearing how the sound travels. So for example, if you left, like we did the classic like clapping of the movies, but then if you left the microphones that were in sync according to that to develop on their own, they became out of sync. So for example, when the area where Samuel is talking or chanting, you like a delay of his vocals you could hear that on the recording. You could not hear it live, but because the sound, like one microphone is capturing a millisecond after the other one, this delay would show up in the recording. So it was a very difficult decision on how to do the mixing. And actually, if you want to hear it, I have a better, I think for me at least, a better mix of because we did this video, we had to do it very fast because we did the activity and then it had to be like premiered on the festival only a few days after we did it. So the mix and all the video edition was done like super fast. But I have here, I'm sending the link on the chat. Like I finished this one a few days ago, which it's only the sound, but I think it's a bit better.
That's
great.
How about the mix of the sound? You mix in stereo? You mix from the computer or from microphone? What's your main source? Main source for the mixing of the
No,
video?
like we captured the sound from a lot of different locations. And actually, for example, Lucas brought with him his own like recording setup, and we added that one as well. Then the camera crew, they had their own system, and Ana Maria and Samuel, both of them, they had like lavalier mix. These ones you put on your clothes. So they had this very close. Then there was the microphone that was inside the tube that was recorded like directly. So we had a lot of different sources. And then the binaural element aspect of the video edition, that was done in the studio, like in a 3D audio studio where we placed the sources in a 3D space, more or less trying to recreate the experience of the building.
Yeah, because it may be lovely to make a surround mix of that piece in a way, you know.
Well, one of the ideas, like to keep showing the work, is to maybe do like some sort of like live cinema presentation, where we can like do some aspects of the work live and maybe like do playback of some of the images or some of the performances. Hopefully we can do like some sort of tour like that.
Yeah, the language is a virus tour after COVID. Luna, we don't hear you now.
No, I just wanted to say that I love the poetic space of like when you said that this piece is between the E and the F. I love that.
And that is a tone that Mozart tried to search all his life. He was sure that you have a note between E and F, between mi and fa.
Mi and fa, yeah.
The first goal to find that kind of sound. Only in Indian music we have a lot of little tonalities between
micro tunings.
Yeah, microtones between mi and fa, and between si and do.
Routine.
Well,
box, isn't it?
Gregorio knows a lot about this. There are a lot of micro tunings in Occidental music, also different kind of temperaments and all that. There are some keyboards there were some keyboards in the Renaissance that have a different keys from, for example, C sharp and D. ¿Cómo se dice bemol?
Flat.
And D flat, and you see different keys. It's really strange because they tune them differently.
And even today, like for example, string players like violin that do not have frets, so they get to play around with the tuning. They do use that element. Like you can do a sharp that is a little bit less sharp or less flat. So, and also singers, although with auto-tune, that's becoming less prominent. But yeah, this is like a jazz intonation work in that sense. Although it's with an electric guitar, so it's not like super like strict with that, and also with the keyboard. But you know, on the basis is it's the frequencies, which are like the microtonal, or more precisely the jazz intonation is like the frequencies that are given by ratios that are like naturally occurring, which is like the mathematical relationship between the tones.
Maybe because they just join the elimination of phase, you know, the cancellation of phases in a, you know, for a determinate which phase it could cancellate with the resonance of the walls in the place. Could be a, you know, for the a surround mix could be great, you know, like. But you can make after now if you go to the market and take the sounds with a proper microphone and just adjoin that to the edition for the tour. I don't know, anyone have a question? Andres, hola Andres. Crazy.
I really liked it. Everyone who was involved, thank you. I was really struck by this. Almost, it was beautiful, and yet the more I listened, and the more everyone talked about the sort of infinity of possibilities within it. I mean, Felipe at the end of it said, "You've heard the complete thing now," and yet, what is the complete thing? I mean, you know, Lucas was talking about the way he heard it. There's so many different ways of hearing it, and you know, you could make multiple recordings as you've suggested, and then in terms of the resonance of the building, it would probably have a different resonance in the daytime because of the heat of the building or something. You know, it's like there was all these possibilities. Wherever you're standing when it's going on, you're going to hear something different. Anyway, I'd like your thoughts about that. But then the sort of small question I had was, did people outside of the building in other apartments hear it? And did they give you feedback?
The only feedback we got from people like outside the production like that was before doing like the filming, because during the day we were like setting up the thing, and then we did a lot of like audio tests. And at some point, one of the crew members that was in charge of the technical stuff, he went downstairs to get some coffee, and the guy that was selling the coffee asked, like, just gave him the comment like, "What is that annoying noise all around?" Yeah, but probably some people might have been not very happy with it at the point. And we did this, the event itself, in part because of what you say, of how it changes during the different time of the day, the effect of the reflection of the sound. We did this during curfew hours. Which here we are being in curfew for forever, basically. So I don't remember exactly at what time we recorded this particular version, because we did like 4 during the night. So it might have been 2 a.m. maybe, or 1, somewhere around that time.
But curfew started at 11, so
yeah. And it's amazing that how like the feedback or the absorption that, especially like that you bring to a space, changes throughout the day. Like doing this piece and another piece that I did before this one, that it's like the mother of this work. Like I had the opportunity to test that one at different times of the day because it was running 24 hours. And like, especially like at sunset, the sound travels so much different. Like you can hear a lot of different feedbacks and stuff like that do not, like at 4 p.m. for instance, in the afternoon, like the air is like, I guess it's denser, so the sound doesn't travel so much. And then at nighttime, it's much more like mellow. Like, I guess it's like the atmosphere, I don't know. The air pressure. Maybe in a different country it would work different as well.
Hey, Gregorio, the image behind you right now is amazing. It's like, like trees, the trees in the window or something. I mean, it's like totally freaky.
Moving all the time.
Yeah. It's a bit too much though.
Ozzy.
Ana Maria, and how did you feel during the performance? Can you tell us something about your state during the transmission.
Pucha,
En español
ay,
nomás,
mi
está usted.
inglés no es tan
Español
fluido.
o Deutsch.
O en alemán.
Sí. ¿Cómo me sentí en la performance?
Sí.
Sí, increíble, porque se hicieron muchos muchos ensayos. Entonces lo que se ve ahí es como, claro, la edición de un video. No sé si me corté, pero hay mucho material, yo creo que está ahí dando vuelta, que quedó afuera de la edición, pero fue súper rica la experiencia. Para mí el espacio era alucinante, como dijo Lucas, un privilegio el lugar. Y también el hecho de que Gregorio haya hecho esta partitura, como entendiendo de dónde uno viene para aportar en el proyecto total, era súper como delicado. ¿Me entiendes? ¿Estoy conectado o se me cortó?
Sí, se escucha.
Sí.
Está perfecto, está perfecto.
Súper, eso, como que eso fue súper rico y claro, yo tenía ganas de correr obviamente en el lugar, como que daban ganas de hacer, claro, como correr y estar con la bicicleta dando vueltas en un espacio abierto, increíble. Que da muchas posibilidades, ¿no? No, pero era súper bonito todo. Con las luces que iban así dando los estadios del lugar, iban cambiando y uno iba como viajando un poco en la oscuridad, porque estábamos en la noche y entonces cada uno estaba súper concentrado en su estación, pero uno iba siguiendo como uno iba viajando un poco en este espiral que decía la Andrea, ¿no? De sonidos, y uno iba viajando y como que entraba. Y también me dijo como, fue súper así rupturista, porque me dijo, no entres con tu voz en la misma sonoridad, sino que rómpela. Y yo dije, entonces había que como que romper eso, era interesante en esa abstracción, era bonito, fue súper entretenido.
Who wants to translate?
Pucha, lo siento.
No, está bien.
Sorry, my English is very basic and maybe you don't understand me, but
no, okay.
Well, I can try, but I don't know. It was very great to be there, and the space was así alucinante,
amazing.
fantastic.
Hallucination.
Yes. And I want to run and to gritar así, ¡guau! Como, era como exquisito, así, era como un lugar como para explotar o no sé. Pero había que contenerse en esa partitura, but sorry. And then the partiture that gave me Gregorio was very
very subtle, and you also said that you wanted very much, you like very much that that Gregorio took a lot of care of what he wrote or which kind of instructions he gave to everyone. So you felt like very at ease with that. But I don't know if I understood well, but you also said that Gregorio said that you should try to break like those instructions or that kind of sound.
Yes, porque yo quise, because I want to ¿cómo se llama? Seguir el sonido. Yo quería seguirlo con la voz.
Follow the sound.
Era muy rico eso de poder y Gregorio me dijo, como no hacer la paralela, yo entendí eso, sino que romper, entrar rompiendo, así. Entonces ahí como que empecé a entrar el sonido, así más como que lo tuve que meter para adentro.
And not just to follow the sound and to follow like the stream of the sound, but also to break it to make changes.
Porque yo quise nadar así, I want to swim.
You wanted to swim.
Sound, but no.
She wants to make a bike, to swim.
Yeah.
Next time, Ana María.
Next time. Thank you. Thank you. No.
Who
No,
control?
I think it was very. Es very como es triste no haber podido estar con gente ahí, ¿no? Gregorio, haber tenido presencia de personas, porque obviamente la edición del video es una edición, pero a nivel como de experiencia era, yo creo que hay que repetirlo, Gregorio, tienes que insistir en ir de nuevo al lugar, ¿no? Cuando se pueda presenciarlo, ¿no? Digo yo porque creo
Ana
que
Maria,
igual
Ana Maria misses that there was no people at this event. Well, every one of you misses that, I assume. So she's telling Gregorio they should repeat it with people.
We did like a second version, but that was only.
Perdona, la producción fue así, enorme, entonces mover todo eso obviamente es un segundo evento, igual de grande, era grandioso todo lo que hicieron. Sí.
¿Qué estabas diciendo, Gregorio? Que hicieron otra versión.
We do like a second version of the work, but with 2 electric guitars. So instead of being like one system going around, it was like not duplicated, because like one guitar was sending the line to an amplifier that was on the other side of the building, and then that one was sending to an electric guitar that had the amplifier on the other side. So it was like an infinite symbol in like the circuitry of the cables. And we did that version for the Sound Art Festival Tsunami. But it was not the same thing, because it was a much more like raw experience. But for that one, at least, we did have people inside the experience.
It was like the unplugged version.
Yeah, I mean, it was more abstract, maybe. Like, I like the fact that in like Ecos Migratorios, there is performance, there is like a musicality. The other one was just like the raw spiral of transduction, which is maybe more difficult, I guess, like as a piece. We did it like for 4 hours also, which was crazy. When we stopped, I really felt like the ceiling was moving.
Gregorio,
¿y eso de Tsunami lo tienes grabado? Sorry.
There is a recording of the Tsunami event, but I do not have it. I did a recording of the computer, and that's like, it makes no sense what you can hear there. It's like, has nothing to do with what you would hear in the building. It's super weird. And also, for those who participated as well in Ecos Migratorios, I hope you would agree, but I've been listening to the different like voice recordings people sent me and playing them one against each other without like the whole work, and it's amazing what happens. So I'm thinking maybe to do like a spin-off, like a little like album maybe with the different, just the voice recordings, because it's amazing.
Great.
We just have to negotiate the royalties, but we're okay.
Yeah. I can send you a draft contract, Gregorio.
I'll put you in touch with my lawyer, Martin Gavins.
Our lawyers in New York.
Yeah, our buffet.
And so, Gregorio, tell us a little bit more about your work, because you also make some installation in the same gallery Isabel Rosas, and you're always like in the border between music and poetry. How about your main goals and in that kind of exploring resonance and poetry and sound and music? What's happening?
I guess for me, nowadays, I guess my main like like artistic research has to do with echoes, like with producing and receiving echoes. So maybe like echolocation, like how, like through producing your sound and then listening to it back, you know, like where you are or maybe who you are. So like an echo displaces a little bit like what's present and what is past, because like maybe I send a sound and then it comes back and it's my sound from the past, but now it's present as it is, as it has been like transformed by something else. And for me, that's like, I'm like maybe exploring echo through different media, be it visual, written, or sound. And then I think I like to think about songs maybe as an kind of like an echolocation instrument in a way. Like, how do you hear yourself back or something?
Yeah, that sounds like bats.
Yeah.
They are
But I think also like, yeah, bats, they do like, or submarines, they do echolocation in an acoustic sense, like sending like a sound and hearing it bounce back. But then I think echolocation maybe can work also in an abstract way, like how, in an emotional way maybe, not necessarily in an acoustical way. Like, what are the reactions you produce, or if you are doing something maybe like a happy music, for example, is it happy for the people receiving it, or how it travels? I don't know. The same with words, like communication is some sort of like echolocation.
eco-emotionality. And what is your next work, Gregorio? What are you working now?
I'm doing some boleros actually.
Play some.
Play a bolero, take the guitar.
Yeah, play some.
And we're about to start our pop duo, Gregorio. Well, we've been like 6 years trying to start it, but maybe 2021 is our year.
Surely.
Martín, estamos haciendo un cover de Corazón de Poeta.
Wow.
Lo hizo Gregorio y me tiene invitado, así que...
Great, great, great. Finally some poetry.
At least.
Martín is in the middle of the sun.
Yeah.
I'm burning.
Burning from the outside, inside.
Canta uno, Gregorio.
Vamos, Greg.
Así
a capela.
Así nomás.
El bolero, sí.
Lucas, calla.
El bolero.
Hola. Sí, pues, con eco el bolero.
El boleco. Tocan boleco.
Un bolero conceptual.
Bolero.
Oh, al piano.
Va a tocar un bolero.
¿Quién va a tocar
Un bolereco.
Bolereco. Yo iba a decir lo mismo.
¡Nah, Luna!
Siendo el cautivo de los caprichos de tu corazón. Supiste esclarecer mis pensamientos. mí los pensamientos. En la primera noche que te amé. Hoy mi playa se viste de amargura. Porque tu barca tiene a buscar otros mares de locura. Cuida que no naufrague cuando la luz del sol se está apagando. Y ya estés cansada de vagar. Recuerda que yo por ti estaré esperando. Cuando tú desees regresar.
Hey.
Sí, pero con esa armonía es
Terminando.
imposible hacerte segundas voces, weón.
Uh,
Estaba preparando mi segunda voz y me cagaste, weón.
¿Te inhibiste?
Me inhibí.
Un poco perdido.
Sí, po.
Oh, está buena.
Era un cover igual.
Sí, po, muy bien.
Sí, po.
Era como versión Far West.
Buenísimo.
Far West dodecafónico. Eso.
Qué buena. Yeah, we should record this bolero, it's true. Let's do versions, loads of them.
Let's do it now.
Now.
Come on.
La que,
St. Martin is recording.
la que no se demora nada en prender.
Lucas, you must be good for the bolero percussion, or not?
Lucas es el tremendo. Imagínate, amazing improvisation, London Orchestra for million years, weón.
Million years.
Lucas es
Million years.
seco.
Great.
Ya, Luna, empieza tú.
¿Cómo? ¿La misma o otra? A ver, pero hay que traer unos instrumentos, ¿no? ¿Qué nota?
Entre el mi y el fa.
Entre el mi y el tú.
Día, mi amor.
¿Ya, pero la misma o otra?
Y el no.
Entre el sí y el no.
¿Cómo empezaba, Gregorio? Empieza tú, po.
Dicen que la distancia es el olvido.
Pero yo no concibo esa razón. Porque yo no me sé así.
Seguiré siendo el cautivo.
En los latidos de tu corazón.
Lucas, we don't hear you.
Está preparando, ahí lo escuchamos.
No, not yet. With a microphone.
Yeah. It's something to the mic. There.
A ver.
Qué buena.
Eso con los perros.
¿Cuál?
Excelente.
Poquito.
El bolero de los perros con
No,
ella.
you need a mic connected to my computer. And I don't have that kind of mic. So we do like this thing back here.
Eso. Pero vamos a hacer ese mismo bolero. ¿Cuáles son los otros boleros? No me acuerdo.
Los bolecos.
Bolecos.
Los bolecos.
¿Cuáles son los otros bolecos?
Tanto tiempo disfrutamos de este amor.
¡Eja!
Nuestras almas se abrazaron tanto así. Pero guardo
La
tu
vida yo
calor.
te di.
Eso, pero tú
Cuerpo lleva ya.
Sabor a mí.
Por a mí.
Sabor a fa.
Entre mí y fa.
Y negarás mi presencia en tu existir.
Al tiro parecen los perros.
Quería con abrazarte, conversar. Tanta vida yo te di que por fuerza tienes ya sabor a mí. No pretendo ser tu dueño. No soy nada, yo no tengo vanidad.
Qué repertorio.
Vida, doy lo bueno, soy tan pobre que otra cosa puedo dar. Pasarán más de 1000 años, muchos más. Yo no sé si tenga la eternidad, pero allá tal como aquí. Ese murió ya, Juan. En fin.
Buena, Felipe, weón.
La segunda voz de América, como me dice un amigo.
Te pasaste.
Es que aprendí a hacer segundas voces en el coro de la iglesia.
Gran escuela, po.
Gran escuela, todo por tercera y quinta.
Ser tu dueño.
A lo mejor son las versiones de David Gourmet con pronunciación gringa.
¿Vale?
No pretendo ser tu dueño.
Sí.
No soy nada, yo no tengo
Yo creo que esta es la principal influencia de Spinetta.
De más.
Nat King Cole era el otro. Cachito, cachito, cachito mío.
Excelente. Pedazo de cielo que Dios me dio. Te miro y a ti te digo. ¿Qué más? No sé.
Pedazo de mi corazón.
¿Dónde está mi amor?
La mejor historia de un amor, encuentro yo. Ya no
la
es
historia de un amor.
corazón.
El reloj.
Que es igual que Gracias a la Vida.
Sí, po.
Mi alma solo tengo soledad.
Sí.
¿Y el reloj?
Es la historia de un amor, no hay otro.
No hay otro
Es súper lindo.
igual que te hizo comprender.
Todo el mal.
Que le dio luz a mi vida, apagándola después. Ay, qué vida más oscura, sin tu amor no viviré. ¿Qué más? Pero cantemos todo al mismo tiempo, más divertido.
Y ojalá en el mismo tono.
Ah, no, no pidáis tanto.
No pidáis tanto.
Cada uno canta un bolero distinto.
Eso.
De acuerdo a su condición.
Yo puedo hacer los ecos.
Un boleco distante.
Eso, el boleco distante.
Eso, el boleco distante.
Boleto.
Un boleto.
¿Tiene su boleco, pasajero?
Oh. Andrés, tú te sabes unos boleros, te apuesto.
Oye, yo me tengo que
Yo
ir.
me sé boleros de
No,
que
Ana
cantaba
María,
Jorge
no te
Torres,
vayas,
el
no
poeta.
te vayas.
¿Pero son
Qué
melódicos?
fuerte con esas ventanas tan lindas.
Son de Agustín Lara y de Calvícamo y de clásicos. Por la vuelta, la copa rota. Los cantaba muy bien con un maraquista de corral, que era un y bongocero y toda la cuestión, que era un músico sobreviviente del terremoto y del maremoto.
Wow.
Que había grabado con muchos barrios, así era un eximio maestro de la percusión para el bolero.
¿Cómo se llamaba?
Tropical. No lo que hacía Luis Miguel, como viene sabrosón y todo.
¿Cómo se llama, Andrés?
Elsie García.
¿Qué tal? Hola.
Mándate los escritos en el chat, Andrés. Oye,
¿Cómo?
mándalo escrito en el chat si puede el nombre del bolerista.
Era el percusionista que tocaba con Jorge Torres, con el poeta. Pero tenía una historia muy loca, porque él llegó borracho la noche del terremoto, anterior al terremoto, a su casa en Corral. Y cuando ocurrió el terremoto, toda su familia salió corriendo y se ahogó con la ola. Pero su casa se la llevó el mar y la depositó en una playa. Entonces él amaneció con caña y abrió la puerta
No te
y
despertó,
su casa
no.
estaba en otro lugar. Él se salvó.
Ay, historia.
¿Y dónde cayó la casa? ¿En qué playa?
Por ahí, por Valdivia, para el norte.
Chris, that story is too good. We're gonna have to tell it to you another time.
El lago Booby.
No, because imagine this singer he's talking about, it was this massive earthquake and then tsunami, and most of that area was destroyed. And this musician was inside his house and he was so drunk that the big wave came in and the whole house was moved away. But he actually didn't die, and he was so drunk and he woke up somewhere else. It's quite good. ¿Pero qué vamos a cantar entonces?
Eso.
Gregorio, ya por la última, cántate una. La cantamos todos.
Erika Magallanes.
El Lucas.
Lucas, dale, Lucas.
Yo no canto, ustedes le dan. Yo lo sigo. Denle.
Denle.
Denle. Vamos. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Eso. ¿Estás ahí? Voy a buscar un bolero. Pero no.
¿Y esa guitarra? ¿De dónde venía esa guitarra?
Sí, de Andrea, yo creo.
Ah. Me llamo Chanchito.
Chao, Guzmática.
podemos cantar el bolero de Ravel.
El bolero de Putin.
Monster.
Escribí un poema y me salió un boleco. Ok, yo no sé por qué, cuéntame.
Eco, 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 que huele, eco, huele, eco, huele, eco, huele, eco, huele, eco, huele, eco, huele, coro, 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 core, coro, 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 eco, coro, 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 eco, coro, coro, eco, coro, 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 coro,
El coronavirus.
Espérate, eco. Búscate el eco. saco.
Bésame, bésame,
Bésame,
como si fuera esta noche la
bésame,
última.
bésame, bésame, bésame.
Como si fuera esta noche.
Para mí fue religión.
Y aunque ya no puedo verte, ahora el reloj, la barca. Bésame mucho, piensa en mí. Historia de un amor. Esta tarde sin ver. Noche de rosas.
Ugly, 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 Please turn on your mic. Everybody turn on your mic. Crazy, crazy, turn on your mic. Ugly, It's finished. But we have this plastic glue to change the DNA, to change the air and the day. Not the imagination, just an integration to take the danger. against the flu.
Gracias por el eco bolero, por el eco. Yo me tengo que ir a ayudar en la sesión de hacer dormir a las niñas.
Cántale un bolero.
Un boleco.
Un bolero.
Muchas gracias, Gregorio.
Gregorio,
Gregorio,
bacán.
saludos a todos, es bacán conocer a los que no conocía, gracias.
Sí,
Saludos.
gracias.
Saludos a todos.
Buenas, Lucas.
Gracias por la invitación. Gracias por la invitación.
Un gustazo.
Vemos.
Y oye, cuando quieran, el boliche está abierto para mostrar los trabajos que están haciendo, lo que quieran, así que...
Sí, Andrea con Octavio para que el miércoles nos avisen, muestren.
Ya, pues, démosle un día, sería
Ya.
bueno.
Bacán, estaría muy chévere.
Que estén bien.
Nos estamos viendo,
Bien.
cuídense.
Chao, cariño a todos. Cuídense.
Acá. And now we start the after hour now.